To discuss further in this, human rights activist and convener Situation Room Clement Nwankwo joins me from our Abuja studios. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10 at this time. It's been quite an eventful year for the House of Assembly in 2016. Give us your assessment of their performance.
Thank you very much. Yes, 2016 has been interesting, a mixed bag, of course. But as you correctly point out, the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Representatives has three key roles, which is lawmaking, oversight, and representation. In terms of lawmaking, I think we're still way off. If we go back since June 2015, when the 8th National Assembly was inaugurated, and look back at what has been achieved, we've seen the Senate pass 64 bills into effect, and the House of Representatives 95 bills, a total of 159 bills passed by both houses. But in reality, when we look at what has been assented to by the President, only very few. The President recently assented to 8 bills. A lot of, in fact, all of these 8 bills were amendment bills, not substantive bills. We have also seen the budget and budget-related bills passed into effect. But the substance of most of the bills passed is part of a challenge. There are still a lot of bills in the National Assembly, 1,325 bills making their way through the National Assembly process, a lot of them very substantive, very important bills that need to be expedited on. We just watched a clip from the spokesperson for the Senate talking about the ease of doing business in Nigeria bills. These are very key bills. There are bills related to the amendment of the Constitution. These are very key bills. They are still winding their way slowly through the process of passage of bills in the National Assembly. I think that there is an urgency that needs to come in, especially given that once you get into the next 6 months, which is the end of the current year in June 2017, most of what happens thereafter is politics. So I really worry that at the slow pace of passage of bills in the National Assembly, there might be quite a lot lost if the National Assembly does not come back in January determined to move with urgency on some of the very important bills that are pending before it.
They did have some hiccups with confirmation of the acting anti-graft agency boss, and more importantly, the budget 2016 going back and forth between the presidency and the National Assembly on the issue of padding. Could they have handled that very issue better, do you think?
Well, I think that the Senate particularly has the powers of confirmation of some of the nominations by the executive, and it is really within their prerogative to decide what to do. If they had reasons for not confirming a particular nomination, I think they've put that in the public domain, and it's up to the public to decide whether they were right in doing what they are doing or what they did. But certainly I think they have also had hiccups in terms of interferences in their leadership by the executive. I think clearly there were attempts to undermine the leadership in both houses by agents in the executive who were not quite comfortable with the nature of leadership that emerged, and this should never really have been the case. But beyond that, I think also that the executive, in every government, in every democracy, the executive has to have its own legislative agenda and drive it through the legislative process. This executive has not been able to develop a legislative agenda, has not pushed any legislation through the National Assembly, and I think that that's quite sad for this country, that you do have an executive that does not present a legislative agenda to the National Assembly for passage. But really, I think that the National Assembly needs to understand that the country is waiting. Its success, or the measure of its success, will be measured by how many bills it passes, how much oversight it does. There are several issues that need oversight by the National Assembly, and I think one of the key achievements was in the Senate intervene on the issue of increase in data tariffs that was being proposed by the Minister of Communication, or indeed the executive, related to telecommunication charges. But there are several other issues that the National Assembly needs to intervene on. There are several things that are going on, particularly with respect to the abuse of human rights by security agencies, including bugging of people's telephone lines that are going on rampantly without any check. These are issues that the National Assembly should be very concerned about and should exercise its powers of oversight to be sure that the respect for human rights is in force.
I'll take that as your parting words concerning this very important sector that we're looking at in the nation's economy. Many thanks indeed, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, of course, the convener, Situation Room, talking to us from our Abuja studios.